إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار أما بعد. Then to move on with the text of Zād al-Mustaqnīʿ, the author, he mentioned Abu Najah Musa bin Ahmad rahimahullah, that if a person makes an intention with the thought that if tomorrow is Ramadan, then fasting is obligatory upon me. If he was to do that, then that is not counted for him, and he is not rewarded for that. Also, whoever made an intention that his fast is broken, then with that intention, he has broken his fast. Then the meaning of this is, the first part of it, so if he says to himself, if a person makes an intention, if a person makes an, this is the text again, that if a person makes an intention with the thought that if tomorrow is Ramadan, then that is obligatory upon me. If he was to make that intention, then that is not counted for him and he is not rewarded for that. So this is like the one who says to himself that I will fast tomorrow if tomorrow is the first day of Ramadan. So if it is Ramadan, then it is for me to fast. And if it is not the first day of Ramadan tomorrow, then I will count it as a nafil for myself, as a optional fast for myself. In such a situation, if that day, meaning tomorrow, if that following day turns out to be Ramadan, then it is not counted for him as a fasting day of Ramadan. And that is because he was uncertain and indecisive in his niyyah. He was uncertain and indecisive. And the intention is not allowed to be indecisive, meaning that intention needs to be certain. And it is not allowed for it to be indecisive. And nor is it allowed to add additional clauses to it. Such as, for example, my niyyah is such and such, but if not, then such and such. You can't do that with the intent of the acts of worship, of the ibadat. That cannot be done. Then he mentions وَمَنْ نَوَى الْإِفْطَارَ فَأَفْطَرَ, that whomsoever intends to break his fast, if he intends the breaking of the fast, أَفْطَرَ, his fast is broken. Meaning that if a fasting person was fasting an obligatory fast of Ramadan or other than Ramadan, such as a fasting of qada, meaning a fast that he's making up from Ramadan, or a kaffara, which is of course an obligatory fast that he has made the intention to make an expiation for something, so that becomes obligatory upon him, or a vow that he made to fast. So these are all categories of obligatory fasts. And then he intends during the day of that fast that he is fasting, with the obligatory fast, that he makes the intention to break the fast, then his fast is invalidated due to his intent to break. Even if he has not eaten and he has not had a drink of anything and he has not fallen into any of the other violations that would break his fast, then still his fast is broken because of the fact that he has broken his intention. He has severed his intention. And the fasting is only validated with the istimrar of the niyyah, with the continuity of intention. So a fast is only validated and sound if there is a continuity of intention. And the obligatory fast, and this is, of course, he's referring here to the obligatory fast, that it is validated and it is sound due to the intent being something that is continual and something that is that has a continuity throughout the day. So this person still has time remaining for the rest of the day, but he has severed the intention of his niyyah within that time that still remains upon him. So Hafiz, this is referring, for example, a person 25 minutes before Maghrib. So he's fasted the whole of the day. It was obligatory fast. He made the niyyah from the night before Fajr. So he has fasted the whole of that day up until half an hour before Maghrib. Then he makes at that point, he intends and makes the firm intention that he is no longer fasting. So he says to himself, I'm no longer fasting. With that, his fast is broken, even if it was 15 or 20 minutes before Maghrib, on the basis that it is required for a person to have a continuity, a continuous niyyah throughout the whole of the day up until the sun has set and Maghrib is due. So his fast is broken solely based upon his niyyah to break the fast. So he hasn't eaten, he hasn't drunk anything, he hasn't eaten anything, he hasn't committed any of the other violations that would invalidate his fast, but just on the basis of the intent to break the fast, his fast is broken. As for the nafal, for the optional fast, then it is different. The optional fast is not broken except by eating or drinking or something that would invalidate the fast, something that would corrupt or invalidate the fast. So, on the basis of having an intention to break the fast, which is the optional fast, the Sunnah fast or the Nafal fast, like the Monday or Thursday, or the 1 day on and 1 day off, or something like that. So this is, or the 3 months or the 3 days in the month. Then, if he was to have the intent to break that fast, which is a Nafal fast, then that fast is not broken with the intent. He does not break, even if he has the intent to break it. Rather, he mentions the cutting off of the intention that would break the fast is only for the obligatory fast. It is specific for the obligatory fasts. And that is because that the nafal fast or the supererogatory optional fast is validated and is sound with the intention that begins in the day. As we discussed yesterday, if you recall, that we discussed that yesterday. That if a person wakes up at 11 a.m., so he prayed Fajr, and he fell asleep. And then he wakes up at 11 a.m. Then he starts looking for food, and he can't find any food. By 2 p.m., still hasn't found any food. So then he says, Khalas, I'm fasting. This is a fast for me. For Nafal, this is allowed. As long as he did not eat anything between the second Fajr, meaning the true Fajr, up until he decided to fast. But that is not an obligatory fast. That is only regarded as a Nafal fast, because the intention for the obligatory fast must be from when? The night before. Right? Before the true Fajr. As for the supererogatory fast, then the niyyah does not have to be present. Like the Prophet ﷺ, on an occasion he entered into the house of one of his wives and he said, is there anything for me to eat? She said, no. He said, in that case, inni sa'im. In that case, I am fasting. So the Prophet ﷺ sought something to eat, but since there was nothing to eat, he said, in that case, I am fasting. And that was from the day. So the niyyah and the intent for the optional fast is in the day. So the continuity does not apply here from the night before. But for the obligatory fast, the continuity begins from the night before. So he says, therefore, Shaykh al-Fawzān, he said, therefore, that the nafal is validated, and it is valid, and it is sound, with an intention that is from the day, as we have already mentioned. So, if the niyyah is disrupted, but he continues fasting, then his fast is valid. The fast is valid. Then he brings the chapter, Bab ma yufsidu as-sawm wa yujibu al-kaffara. The chapter, things that invalidate or corrupt the fast, which obligate expiation. So these are the things that invalidate the fast, and thereafter they obligate, and those things which obligate expiation. So he said here, Man akala aw shariba, whomsoever eats, or he drinks, or he enters something into the stomach through sniffing or swallowing and so on, or by way of an injection, or by applying antimony, which is kuhl, and by doing so, that antimony, it reaches, or the kuhl, it reaches one's throat. So whatever he or she puts into the eyes, and when they put it into the eyes, they feel its taste in the throat. Or he enters something into his stomach from any avenue of the body, except, the exception to that being, through the urethra, which is the canal that connects the bladder to the private parts through which he urinates. So it is that, canal, the penile canal, which is referred to as the urethra. Naam. Or the urinary tract. In the explanation of this, he mentions the chapter, this is Shaykh al-Fawzān now, so that was the speech of the author. Shaykh al-Fawzān in his Sharh, he mentions the chapter of the things that invalidate the fast and that which obligates expiation. So he said, the fasting, it has certain things that invalidate it, or corrupt it and invalidate it. And they are divided into two categories. The things that invalidate the fast or corrupt the fast, they are divided into two categories. The first category, the qismul awwal, that which corrupts the fast or invalidates the fast, but it does not require an expiation to be made. A penalty does not have to be made or given. The second, the qismu thani, that which invalidates the fast and the kafara or the penalty and the expiation is obligated. And what that is will be made clear, insha'Allah, in the rest of this text, insha'Allah. As for the first category, that which invalidates the fast but does not require a kafara, it does not require an expiation. And that is, whomsoever eats or drinks or enters something into his stomach through sniffing or swallowing and so on, or by way of an injection, or by way of kuhl that is applied in the eyes that reaches the throat, or that he enters something into his stomach from any avenue other than the urinary tract, other than the urethra. So then he mentions that the invalidating of the fast, is of two categories. So this is another two categories. The invalidation of the fast is of two categories. So fast can be invalidated by that which enters the stomach. And also the fast can be invalidated by that which exits the stomach or even exits the body. As for the first type, then that which enters the body or enters the stomach, then that is the one who eats something or the one who drinks something. Then this is the one who has entered something into his stomach of eating and drinking, of food and drink. So if he eats or he drinks deliberately, then he has nullified his fast, due to the statement of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا حَتَّى يَتَبَيَّنَ لَكُمْ الْخَيْطُ الْأَبْيَضُ مِنَ الْخَيْطِ الْأَسْوَدِ مِنَ الْفَجْرِ ثُمَّ أَتِمُّوا الصِّيَامَ إِلَى اللَّيْلِ. Where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, the meaning of which is in Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah 187, and eat and drink. Eat and drink through the night until the white thread of Fajr becomes distinct to you from the black thread. Then complete your fast up until the night. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made the fasting between the start of Fajr, meaning the Fajr prayer, from the start of the Fajr prayer up until the setting of the sun, up until the start of Maghrib prayer. So during this time period, he leaves off eating and drinking. He must leave off eating and drinking. So if he eats or he drinks deliberately, then he has invalidated his fast. However, if he eats or he drinks forgetfully, or he is compelled to eat or to drink, then he is excused, due to the statement of Allah's Messenger ﷺ, reported by Bukhari and Muslim from the hadith of Abu Hurairah, that whomsoever forgets, and so he eats or he drinks, then he must complete the rest of the fast of that day. For indeed, it was Allah who fed him, and it was Allah who quenched him of his thirst, meaning that he gave him drink. Then Shaykh al-Fawzān mentions, and likewise, if he was forced and compelled to eat or to drink, then likewise, his fast is not broken, it is not invalidated. And that is because he was compelled. And therefore, the act of eating and drinking is not attributed to him, because he had no choice over the affair of eating and drinking. Rather, he was compelled and forced upon that. So therefore, his fast is not invalidated due to that. And then he mentions, or that which enters his stomach. And he mentions, and like eating and drinking, likewise is everything that enters the stomach.